Dejanay Calloway here with Cascade Media Group, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Scott Williams. Hi, Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Dee. It's nice to see you again.
Yes, sir. I really just want like a short bio. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Well, hi, my name is Scott Williams. I'm 25 years old now. Wow, that seems crazy. Um, I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. Uh, for college, I played soccer, as you guys would call it. We call it football out here, but for the for Americans, it's soccer. So yeah, I played soccer in high school. I was able to get a scholarship to a school in a Division I school in New York called Siena College. And I spent a year there, and then I came to Teton. And during the COVID situation, I had one more year left to finish school. I decided it was best just to come home, finish school online. So I have my degree in economics, and I came back out here. I do construction. Personally, I've done additions like to single family dwellings in Jamaica. Additions, I've done one house from scratch. I've done about seven additions and a bunch of renovations, as well as I work for a government agency that deals with basically funding poor people.
Wow, I love that. And it's so crazy because I remember back kind of when we first met, you were what, 20 maybe?
Yeah, probably about 2019, 20.
That's crazy. Meeting you, I don't even remember how we met. I don't know. Maybe just sports, playing sports at the same college. I think it just kind of happened like
No,
that.
yeah,
And then
we
we
we we met in Costa Rica, no?
Costa Rica, that's true. So our school took a couple athletes. What did we have to do to qualify? Did we write an essay? I don't remember how
Yeah,
did
I
we
think it was a one page essay. Yeah, right,
yeah,
right,
we had to
right.
write an essay about why we wanted to do it. And it wasn't just like vacation or anything. We had to go and give back to the community.
Yeah,
We painted schools, we cleaned up beaches, we did like a lot of community service. We had a lot of fun. Like we got to go to these, all-inclusive resorts and stuff like that.
yeah.
But that's how I got to meet Scott. And so I didn't know that. I didn't know that you did a year at a school in New York and then went to CSUN.
Right, right,
You
right.
literally went coast to coast. What was that like?
It was very interesting, especially as a Jamaican. You know that the bulk of Jamaicans are in New York and Florida.
Mhm.
Um, for me, I thought I was going to be in the areas that where a lot of Jamaicans would be. I know I was in upstate New York. You know, it was predominantly white. It was very, very, very cold. It was just a very different experience for me. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. I think I became a man there, or I had to learn to become a man. I had the initial stages of becoming a man. And yeah, after that, actually, we had played CSUN, our first game of the year. Yeah, we traveled to California. That was our first game. It was like an exhibition game.
Mhm.
I think we lost 2-1. I got knocked out by Danny Trejo that game. Yeah, he was like one on one with the keeper. I slid in, I moved the ball, and he jumped like right into my head. Yeah, so I
Ooh.
got a concussion in that game. And then, when I decided I was leaving Siena, uh, when I was in the portal, they showed interest, you
Mhm.
know, from there.
That's crazy. Who would have thought? I did not know that.
Yeah.
And so everybody that I've interviewed that's kind of in that same weird gap of like COVID hit and it was time to figure out what to do with life next. I know for me, I was in my master's program and I was playing a basketball game and they told us like, oh, fans are no longer able to come. And then they said, you know what? We actually aren't even going to finish this conference tournament. It's time to stop. Year's over, season's over, done. And it was like, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I go to school in California. I just got to go back. And they were like, yeah, go home. Everything's done. Like, I know me, I graduated. Well, at least I had already got my bachelor's. How was it to have to just stop everything that you were doing and just reprogram and everything that you had done for years? You had to just go back home and just figure it out.
Yeah, so for COVID, I was there from March probably until the end of the year.
Mhm.
So I stayed in California, right, at the same apartment. I had all the same. I did all the same things, I guess. I tried running in the mornings, anything just to keep me in shape, keep my mind right. I think that was very important during a time like that where you can't really do much. Yeah, so I was there. It was after a while I really got homesick. Um, It was difficult with my roommates for me to leave, and if I'm coming back, but I had to make a decision. Am I going to stay and wait until my last year, or was I going to come home and do what I decided I wanted to pursue? And I decided to come home, I think, the next year. Right.
What was that transition from going to living on your own as an adult to going back home? Because I know for me, it was like that fine line. I didn't even get like a buffer to like ease back in. It was more like, boom, hey, make room for me. I gotta come back. What was it like?
Right. Right.
You went back home with your parents, right? Like it was so quick. What was that
Yeah.
like?
I went home back to my parents. I had my bedroom. No, I didn't have to worry about making room for me. There was always room for me. They really, really wanted me to come back home because I do a lot around the house. I do all the yard work. I clean up. I'm a good boy when it comes not to be that son.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I came back home. I think it was the right time that I ended up coming back home because I had spent enough time over there. I think at that time, I was very serious about football, and I was dedicating quite a bit of time to training. And after a while, I felt myself falling off of the training, so I knew that I wasn't taking it as seriously anymore. So I felt like it was the right thing to come home. I was fine. I kept myself busy. I started doing a lot of renovations in my house. Just try because that transition, not having a job, not really doing anything, not going to school, not playing your sport is like nothing. It's like trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. You don't know what's happening, but I think you have to stay patient, stay calm. I think I'm very confident in myself, so it didn't really affect me too much.
Good. And so tell me a little bit about the construction side. Like you said, building homes for poor people. How did you get into that?
Okay, so the company that I work for is Jamaica Social Investment Fund. We have many different donor agencies like the World Bank. Yeah, but my portfolio is funded by the government. It's a electrification program. I do house wiring and like pole line development. So like just like outside the house, you see the pole line. We we have contractors that can bid on the projects when the projects do the work for us. We supervise, we pay and whatever. So those are the type of contracts that I deal with. So we have the house wiring right now. We're doing 800 houses. Like it's a small provision just to ensure that because we have a very huge issue with people stealing light out here, very different from America. So there's like a monopoly company called Jamaica Public Service who provides energy to us. So for them to cut their losses as well as to ensure that people are having safe access to electricity, we ensure that we wire their houses and we ensure that they have proper access to the electricity.
Oh, so that's important. I didn't realize it was that big of a problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a problem that we have. It's a problem that what you would call third world countries or developing countries that they would have a lot of. There is a conglomerate of SIFs, social investment funds across other countries. Jamaica Social Investment Fund would just be the investment for Jamaica.
And so being your friend and seeing like the other side of it, I know like how excited you were the first time you painted something and you sent me a video of like when you built, I can't remember what you built. It was probably this big. It was something like that.
Oh, the dog house. Yeah, for my
You were
dog.
so
Yeah.
proud. Are you wanting to stick with this route that you're in now with this company? Are you wanting to branch off and do your own type of renovation type thing? What's your plan with it?
Right. So, if I get to a certain level in construction, there would be some sort of, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. There would be some sort of conflict of interest because of the type of projects that I would decide to bid on. So for now, I do know that I have a duty in terms of doing my regular day job. So I do focus most of my time on that. We have probably two or three, you know, jobs a year that we will do additions to houses, or what we've done a couple houses so far. Right now, I'm trying to focus on building my own family's houses. So I'm doing my aunt's house right now, and then I'm going to build my parents' house very soon. Like, me and my parents' house.
I
My
love
parents
that.
and I.
And
Yeah.
for our listeners, he is being very modest. He's actually very good at it. I promise, to go from little tiny dog houses to now fences to paint to walkways and stuff like this. He's very, very good. So regardless, whether you're doing impactful work for your city or renovating your family's homes, I'm proud of you, bro. You're doing good. To say I met you again at like 1920 and here you are now doing what you do, it's very inspirational. But
Thank you so much.
if you had to take, I asked all my guests this, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who maybe was in your shoes as far as giving their all and being 100% committed to a sport and then having everything change, whether they had a season ending injury, whether sports just didn't go how they wanted it to go, and having to find that next path. If you could give any advice in that, what would you give?
I think definitely you have to give 100% on whatever you're doing. So once you're playing a sport, once you're focusing on your academics, once you're doing a trade, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to use your 100% effort. Sometimes in life we do have to pivot. I think you have to have that confidence in yourself that it is possible. Like you're not one dimensional. You know, from a younger age, you should really have other interests. You know, definitely playing a sport is great, but you know, mentally, sports can be very draining, and you need an outlet for that even when you're playing. So I think it's good to have other hobbies, other things that you can look towards, and not be too one-dimensional, so that you have the confidence to move on to other things that you think you can do.
I love that. I think that is very relatable advice for like that age group of, oh my God, if basketball's not going how it's supposed to go, soccer's not, I want to play pro, I want to play pro. And then, life
Yeah.
happens like it always does. And you have to figure it out. And I love that of having other avenues because it's okay. If it doesn't go there, the small percentage of people who actually take their sport to that level is so small.
Right.
And sometimes by the time you're burnt out from doing it in college and high school and elementary, you don't even want to do it. So what next? And so
Right.
that is very,
Right.
very good advice. Well, again, thank you so much, Scott, for giving us your time and your story. Again, I think that there are going to be a lot of people that can relate to this.
This is brought to you by Kansas City Business Association, working to improve our community.